Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be sharing with you guys how I recreated this stylish Ankara dress. So if it's something you're interested in, please keep on watching and let's get started. So now we're going to be drafting the upper bodice of this dress and we're going to be drafting on our pattern paper, as you can see. So the first line I marked here is the shoulder line, which is about half of an inch. So from that point I marked the shoulder to the bust point, which is 11 inches. The shoulder to under bust is 13 inches and the shoulder to waist is 16 inches. So the next thing I did was to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So from that 1 inch I came down by for my shoulder slope, I marked the armhole measurement, which is 7.5 inches. So my camera wasn't recording when I measured my neck depth and my neck width. So my neck width I used 3 inches and the neck depth I used 3 inches as well. So now I'm going to be marking the bust pan, and the bust pan is 7 inches and I'm going to be dividing that by 2. Please note that your bust pan is also your nipple to nipple measurement. So the bust pan is 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5, and I'll go ahead and mark that 3.5 on my bust point. I'll also mark it on my under bust and I'll mark it on my waistline. So now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect those points that I marked. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll come to my shoulder line and I'll measure whatever I have there, and here I have 5 inches, so I'm going to be dividing that by 2. It will give me 2.5. So I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect that 2.5 down to the bust point that I marked. That's nipple to nipple line that I marked. So I'll just connect it like so. So right now I'll be measuring my chest line, and as you can see I placed my tape on my shoulder line to mark where I want the chest line to stop. So I'm using 7 inches for mine. So if you don't want to use 7 inches, you can use maybe 6.5. That's if you don't want it to be this low. You can use 6.5 or 6 inches, and I'll just go ahead and connect. So now I'm going to be taking my dart, and first thing I'll do is that I'll come to my under my bust point line and mark 1 inch. Then I'll be using 0.75 inches on both sides for my dart. That's 1.5 inches divided by 2 will give me 0.75. So I'll come to my waistline and mark it here like so. So you can see what I have. And I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect it upwards to the 1 inch I came down by on my bust point line. I hope you guys understand. So what I'll be doing right now is I'll come to my under bust line like so. So you see where this first dart leg is at the side, I'll be using half an inch. So if you have a bigger bust, I would advise you use maybe 0.75 inches. But for me, I'll be using half an inch. And you can see where I placed my tape. I placed it on the first dart leg and on the second dart leg. So now I'm going to use the curved part of my ruler to connect it like so. So you can see the way I placed my ruler. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a curve like so. So I'll be doing the same thing at the other side. But at the other side, it won't be as curvy as this first part that I marked. So you can see what I have. So right now I'll just go ahead and connect this to my dart on my waistline so you can see what I'm doing. So on my chest line, I'm going to be using 1.5 inches on both sides. So if I divide that 1.5 inches into 2, it will give me 0.75. So I'm going to be marking 0.75 on both sides like so. So this 0.75 is actually for all sizes, so you can use it for any size. So right now I'm going to use my curved ruler to connect to the bust point line like so. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. So at this point, I'm going to be connecting this part to my armhole just to give it that armhole curve, but I'm not going to be taking it too deep. You can see the way I placed my ruler. I'm just going to use my free hand to connect it like so. So now we're done drafting the upper bodies, and now we're going to be taking the body measurement. So the bust divided by 4 is about 9 inches, and as you can see, I'm marking it on my armhole like so. So I'll go ahead and mark whatever it is I have here to avoid any shortage. And I have 1.5 inches. I'll go ahead and mark it. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. So I'll come to the underbust and divide my underbust circumference by 4, which is 7 inches. Then I'll be marking whatever it is I have on the dart, which is 1.5 inches. And I'll be adding 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. Then the waist as well, I'll be dividing the waist circumference by 4, and it's going to give me about 7.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark that 7.5 inches. Then I'll mark whatever I have there as well, which is 1.5 inches. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So right now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect the 3 points together. So right now I'm going to be taking my bust dart, and as you can see, I placed my tape underneath my bust point. I'll be using 1.5 inches for that. So if you're a bigger person, you can use maybe 2 inches. So right now I'll just go ahead and connect it to this part like so. So I'll be dividing that 1.5 inches into 2. It's going to give me 0.75 inches. So right now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect to this point like so. So right now I'm going to be closing the bust dart, and by doing that I'm going to go ahead and cut through this part like so it will be easy for me. So I'll cut like this at first, then I'll go ahead and open this part up as well. So next I'll just go ahead and open this part like so, and I'll use my masking tape to close it up. So I've gone ahead to close it up. So this upper part is my yoke. Remember, this dress is going to be having a yoke, so I'm going to go ahead and label it. So right now we are done drafting, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Please, while cutting the yoke, don't forget to add half an inch to join the shoulder together. It's very important. If you don't add it, your shoulder will come out short. So as you can see here, I added half an inch, and then I'll use my ruler to connect. So now for the back, as you can see, I already drafted out the basic measurements, and here I marked 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Please don't forget to add your zipper allowance. So for the neck depth at the back, I used 1.5 inches for the neck depth, and for the neck width, I used 3 inches like I did at the front. Then the shoulder is also 8 inches like I did at the front. Then I came down by 1 inch from my shoulder slope, the same way I did at the front. Then I marked my armhole measurement the same way I did at the front. So I marked my shoulder to my bust point, which is 11 inches. This time around, I'm not going to be using 16 inches as my shoulder to my waist. This is because at the front, we already took out 1.5 inches for the bust dart, and it will make the back short. So I'm going to be using 14.5 inches. That's removing the 1.5 inches that we already took out for the bust dart. So make sure you don't use the exact 16 inches anymore for the back. If you use 1.5 inches for your bust dart, you remove it at the back. If you use 2 inches, you remove it at the back as well. So right now I'll be marking my dart, which is my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which will give 3.5 inches, just like I did at the front. So right now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect like so. At this point, I'll be using 1 inch for my dart at the back. So I'll be dividing that 1 inch into 2 to give me half an inch. So I'll be marking half an inch on both sides of this line like so. So now I'll just come down by 1 inch for my bust point, and I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect to that half an inch I marked on my waistline. So you can see that right here I'm just marking my dart. So at this point, I'll be taking the body measurements, and I'll be taking it on the armhole. So the first measurement I'll be taking is the bust measurement, divided by 4 is 9. So right now I'll be marking 1.5 inches to it for my sewing allowance. So on the waist as well, I'll be dividing the waist circumference by 4, which is 7 inches. So I'll mark this dot that I marked here, which is 1 inches. I'll mark it to avoid any shortage before marking 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So right now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So the back is as simple as that, nothing extra. So at this point, I'll be adjusting the zipper allowance to eliminate any zip bulge, and as you can see, I extended the neck, and I'll go ahead and extend the waist as well. So now I'll be dividing whatever I have here into 2. So I have 1.5 inches. If I divide it by 2, it will give me 0.75. So I'll just go ahead and mark that 0.75, and I'll use my ruler to connect from this neck all the way to the waist, like so. So I'll be adding half an inch to the shoulder, just like I did at the front. Then I'll go ahead and use my ruler to just connect. So we're done crafting the pattern for the back, and right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out. Please note that the armhole for the back is different from the one at the front. As you can see, I didn't go in by half an inch. So right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So now I'll be cutting out on my fabric, and I'm going to be using 2 yards of this beautiful Ankara fabric. So I didn't want to take you guys through the process of cutting. I already cut on my fabric, and all I did was to add half an inch up here by the side and at the lower part, and I also did the same thing at the side. I used half an inch all around, like so. So this side I added half an inch. You don't need to add any extra allowance. Me, I just added it either ways. So I cut 2 of these. I made sure my fabric was on fold, as you can see, and this middle part is just 1, but I folded it into 2 while cutting, as you can see. And I also went ahead to add my hair stay to it. So the hair stay is optional. If you don't have an hair stay, you can just leave it that way. So I did the same thing for the back. I folded my fabric into 2 while cutting. As you can see, there are 2 pieces of it, and I added half an inch at just the lower part. You can see the half an inch here. That's the only place I added half an inch, and I also went ahead to add my hair stay. So I have 2 pieces for the back. So I'm going to be using this beautiful net material for the yoke, and as you can see, I folded it into 2 while cutting, and the only place I added allowance is just the lower part. As you can see, that's the only place I added my allowance. So this is the net I'll be using. So I've gone ahead to cut out my lining as well. So you can see I cut it the exact way I cut my fabric, and I went ahead to add my paper stay to it. So right now I'm going to be joining these pieces together. So I'll just place this side here like so, and I will use my pin to hold it down. I'll be using the half an inch allowance I left to join it together. So this is how you should place yours before joining. So this is what I have after joining, and right now I'm just going to go ahead and make a notch. I'll just start from my underbust like so, then I'll make a notch all the way at the cupped part of the bustier. So I'll just make notches like so. So after notching, I'll just go ahead and open it up and give it a thorough ironing. So I'll just iron both sides. So I'm done ironing, and this is what I have. I also went ahead to join my lining the exact way I joined the main fabric, and I went ahead to iron it as well. So I'm going to place that aside, and I'll go ahead and join the back of my dress. So for the back, I'm going to be placing the lining on the main fabric, and I'll be using about 1/4 of an inch to join the neck. Then I'll use 1/4 of an inch to join the zipper part as well with the lining. I'll do that on both sides. So I'll just use 1/4 of an inch like this and join all the way down. So this is what I have after joining. I also went ahead to iron it down, and this is what it looks like. So right now I'm going to be taking the dart for the back, and what I'll do is I'll just place both sides on top of each other like so. Then I'll take the actual zipper allowance that I left. You can see that I pinned them down before taking the allowance. So I'll measure 1.5 upwards like so. Then I'll measure 0.75 just like I did when I was drafting on my pattern paper. So I'll measure 0.75 on the waist like so. And I'll use my ruler to connect. So after connecting, I went ahead to join it together, and this is what I have. So now I'll be taking my dart, and what I'll do is I'll come down by half of an inch on my shoulder. So that half an inch is for my allowance when joining the shoulder of the front and back. So I'll take my shoulder to my bust point, which is 11 inches. Then I'll take in my my nipple to nipple measurements, which is 3.5. Remember I used 3.5 when I was drafting on the paper. So I'll take it on that shoulder to bust point, and I'll also take it on the waistline, and I'll use my ruler to connect. So now I'll be taking half an inch on both sides of this line like so. So I'll mark half an inch here, and I'll mark half an inch at the other side. And I'll go ahead and use my ruler to connect it all the way like so. So I did the exact same thing at the other side, and I'll just take it to my machine to join it. So after joining, this is what I have, as you can see. So now I'll be joining the lower bodice of this dress to the upper bodice, and I've already cut out the skirt pattern for this dress. And please note that I didn't cut out the full length of the skirt. If you notice in this picture, the skirt length is about like a 3/4, so I removed about 5 inches. It's only the net that is the full length. So right now I'm going to be joining it to the back. You can see the way I placed it. So I'm going to use half an inch to join both sides, and I went ahead to open up the zip part so it will be easy for me to join. So I opened it up a little bit like so. So I'm going to place it like this, and I'll use half of an inch to join. So I've gone ahead to join it, and right now I'll be closing up the back. So I'll start from the upper part down to the lower bodice all the way down. And after doing that, I'll just go ahead and add my zipper to the dress. So I'm gonna head to add my zip, and this is what the back of the dress looks like right now. Now back to the front pattern, I decided to add a back up to my bustier. This is optional. If you don't want to add a back up, you can just go ahead and use a wording to pad yours, and you can leave it like that as well if you want to. So right now I'll be adding my yoke to the front pattern, and what I'll do is just to fold it into two. I'll make sure it's equal, then I'll make a notch in the middle like so. Then I'll go ahead and fold my yoke into two as well and make a notch in the middle. So once I'm done doing that, I'll place the notched part of the yoke on top of the main bodice, and I'll use my pin to hold it down. So now I'm going to go ahead and fold my lining into two as well, and I'll make a notch in the middle. So I'll place my lining on top of my main bodice and my yoke like so, and I'll use my pin to hold it down so you can see what I have. So I'll go ahead and use half of an inch to join it together. So if I flip it over to the other side after joining, this is what I'll have. So I'm done joining, and this is what my yoke and my upper bodice looks like. So this is what the pattern looks like right now. So now I'm going to be adding this ribbon to this part of the dress. It's called a velvet ribbon, and I used about 1.5 yards, so I cut it into two. So I'll make sure I place it on my armhole like so, and I'll put one side in the middle. Then I'll do the same thing at the other side as well. So I'll just make sure both of them are in the middle like so, and I'll take it to my sewing machine to join. So after joining it, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. So now I'm going to be joining the upper bodice of the front to the lower bodice, and I'll just fold it into two like so, and I'll make a notch in the middle. So I'm making a notch on the lower bodice. I've done the same thing for the upper bodice. So right now I'm just going to place the notched part of the upper and lower bodice. I'll place them on top of each other like so, and I'll use my pin to hold it down, and I'll use 1/2 inch to join. So after joining it, this is what I have, as you can see. So right now I'm going to be joining the shoulder of the front and back together. So I'm going to be using 1/2 inch to join both sides together. So after joining it, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. Right now I've gone ahead to cut out my sleeve pattern, and as you can see in the picture, it's a 3/4 sleeve, and I just cut to the length I wanted. So I'm going to be using the slash and spread method because this is like a gathered sleeve, and I used 1 inch each for it. For the line that I marked, I used 1 inch. So right now I'm going to mark the 1 inch all the way up like so. So after marking, I'll just go ahead and slash it. I'm not going to slash through. So this is what I have after slashing. So I'm going to be using this net fabric for the sleeve and for the lower part of this dress. And the total yards I used was about 7 yards. So if you want yours to be fuller than that, you can use between 8 to 10 yards. So depending on how full you want it to be. So right now I'm going to go ahead and fold this net into two so that I can spread my sleeve on it before cutting it out. So now I'm going to be spreading on my fabric, and as you can see upwards I left about 4 to 5 inches. So right now I used about 4 inches to spread because I wanted the sleeve to be a little bit full, so I used about 4 inches to spread. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and trace it out with my chalk. So depending on how full you want your sleeve to be, and you can just go ahead and spread as much as you want to. This is a net fabric, so I'll advise you to spread as much as possible, because if you don't do that, it will come out looking very scanty. So right now I'm going to go ahead and redraw this upper part of my sleeve. While spreading, you can notice that the shape was not there anymore. So right now I'm just going to use my chalk to redraw it like so. So right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out like so. So I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces of this. So after cutting, I'm going to be using about 0.75 inches to fold in this part so I can put in my elastic. So after doing that, this is what I have. I've gone ahead to fix my elastic on the inside. I used a black elastic, by the way. So right now I'm going to go ahead and place this together so that I can go ahead and join it to my main bodice. So I'll fold it and make a notch in the middle. So I'll place that mid part on the mid part of the sleeve. So just watch what I'm doing. So if you notice any excess while joining, you can just go ahead and pleat it on this mid part of the shoulder. So you can just pleat it a little bit. So right now I'll just go ahead and pin this down and go to my sewing machine to use about 1/2 inch to join it together. So I'm done joining both sides, and right now I'll be joining the main bodice. I'll be using the body measurement to join. So I'll go ahead and use my pin to hold it down before joining it. So at this point, we're going to be joining the nets to the lower bodice, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So remember that there are like 2 steps to the net. So what I'll do is I'll measure from my waist to the knee length. So the knee length for this person is actually 25 inches. But I'm going to be coming up by about 3 inches. So if I come out by about 3 inches, it will give me about 22 inches. So that's where the first net will be. It will be on the 22 inches. Then the second net is below the knee. So I'm going to be coming down by about 3 inches from that 25 inches, as you can see. So you can see I'll come down by about 3 inches. So I've gone ahead to cut out the net I'll be using for this. So now for the length of this net, for the first part, I will place my tape on that 22 inches I came up by. So I'll place it and add that extra 5 inches I removed when I was cutting the skirt. So whatever it gives me will be the length of the first one. Then on the second one as well, I'll place my tape here and add the extra 5 inches. So whatever it gives me will be the length of the second one. Depending on how full you want your net to be, so you can measure about 3 to 4 yards of it, depending on how full you want it to be. So right now I'm going to go ahead and run a gather stitch on it. So after running a gather stitch on it, I'll go ahead and drag it gently. So I've gone ahead to join the gathers on top of the dress, and this is what I have. You can see the inside. This is what the inside looks like. So I joined the second gathers right on top of the first one. I didn't join it on the dress directly. It's only the first one that I joined on the dress directly. So you can see the back, you can see what it looks like. So you can see that it has a slit, and it's only the upper gathers that I joined directly on the Ankara fabric. The lower gathers is on top of the net. And we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, don't forget to do so. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.